Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another installment of Scott Selections here for Saturday, August 3rd. Before we get into the play of the day, we'll quickly recap what happened yesterday. We picked up an unfortunate loss with the Blue Jays team total over 5.5 at -115. They ended up only scoring 5 runs. They had a guy in scoring position in the ninth inning, weren't able to score. You also had a double by Bichette, which could have been a home run, hit the wall in the fifth inning or so. A couple of missed chances, either or. We ended up losing by half a run, and we'll look to bounce back with a win on Saturday. Unlike in the last couple of days, there is a lot on the sports card, whether it's baseball, whether it's UFC, whether it's tennis. There's a lot going on. And just a quick reminder, if you do plan on betting UFC, the card already started. And even though people think that the UFC is going to be at night tonight, it is not. For some reason, it is in New Jersey, and they decided to start it at noon. So if you want to bet on the Lawler and Covington fight, you should probably bet that sooner rather than later. As the fight is not tonight, it is going to be in the middle of the afternoon, just to remind some of you. However, the play of the day, we were actually going to dive into tennis, into the finals of Los Cabos between Taylor Fritz and Diego Schwartzman. And in this match, we like the American Taylor Fritz -2 games, which is available at -114 at Bet Online, and that will be the line that we are using for this one. In terms of why we like this matchup, Schwartzman did have a very stressful match yesterday against Guido Pella, which ended up going 3 sets, and it was definitely a battle if you actually ended up watching. It took about over 2 hours. And meanwhile, Fritz was able to take a nap against Radu Albert, as he was able to win 6-3, 6-2 in straight sets at roughly midnight or so, and his match only took an hour and 11 minutes. In terms of the tournament itself, I definitely think Fritz, both players have looked impressive in this tournament so far, but I think Fritz has looked even more impressive. He has only dropped 1 set. He's been cruising. He was able to beat Fognini in straight sets, and he's looked really solid. And overall, these two players did face each other earlier this year. It was on clay, but Fritz was able to demolish him 6-4, 6-2. And clay is Schwartzman's best surface, so I definitely think that even though this is on hard court, I think Fritz's serve will definitely serve him well in this one, and I think that Schwartzman will struggle to hold serve. Fritz, in his last match against Radu Albert last night, was fantastic when it came to serving. He had 8 aces, 1 double fault, and he won 89% of his first service points, and he only faced 1 break point all match long. And Schwartzman, in his match, despite beating Guido Pella, did not serve particularly well, as he ended up having 3 aces along with 6 double faults. He won 74% of his first serve points. He only won 42% of his second serve points, and he did give up 8 breakpoint chances, in which Pella capitalized on 2 of them. So simply put, I think that Fritz, with his size advantage, Schwartzman's also a very small guy, roughly 5'8", 5'7", give or take. I think Fritz's powerful serves will do a lot to keep Schwartzman off balance. I think that Fritz will be able to hold serve a lot easier than Schwartzman will be able to. Do I think that Fritz will win in straight sets? It wouldn't surprise me if he does, but Schwartzman's been very crafty. I think it could go 3, but I definitely think that Fritz should be able to win 1 set at least 6-3 based on Schwartzman's definite weakness in comparison to Fritz when it comes to serving. I think Fritz should be able to break Schwartzman at least 2 times, if not 3 times in this match. And I think Schwartzman could potentially get 1 break, but I definitely think Fritz should win this match. And I think Fritz should be able to cover this -2 spread at -114. And that will be the play of the day. Now, in terms of some other leans, I will give out some of my thoughts, not just on baseball, but I will give out some thoughts on the UFC card as well. In terms of baseball, there are a lot of in terms of the leans yesterday, we actually had a very good day. In terms of the leans, we ended up giving out we gave out the Astros team total over. They ended up scoring 9 runs or so. We gave out the Phillies under. That ended up going 15 innings, and that ended up winning. And I don't remember what the third one was, but I think it was the Giants, and I'm pretty sure the Giants ended up beating the Rockies yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm pretty sure, even though we lost the play of the day, we ended up sweeping the board on the MLB leans, as I'm looking through that right now. Nope, Colorado beat the Giants, so we ended up going 2-1 on the baseball leans. But in terms of the baseball leans today, I will lean to the over 11 in the Yankees and Red Sox game. I know that yesterday you only had 6 runs. You had 6 in the first inning, and then nobody scored the other 8 innings. But Chad Green is an opener. He's only going to pitch 1 inning. And you have Brian Johnson, who is nothing really to write home about as well. both, just because yesterday went under doesn't mean that I think the whole series is going to go under. I still expect both offenses to play well today, and I definitely think that that game should go over the 11, especially with the way both bullpens have been performing lately. Other than that, I will lean to the. Who am I going to lean to in this one? Sorry, I'm just looking through the card here. I will lean to the Nationals with Strasburg against Ray. Strasburg has been a very underrated NL Cy Young candidate. Will he win the award? No, but I definitely think that he deserves consideration as he has been one of the best pitchers in the entire league. And Robbie Ray has been pretty solid overall, but not great. And I think the Nationals are roughly minus 129 makes a lot of sense. Lean to the Nationals on the money line on that one. And other than that, I don't really have any other leans on the baseball card. I'd have to lean to Toronto here with Pannone on the mound against Bundy. I don't like Pannone at all, but at the same point, Toronto, despite not covering the team total yesterday, did win again, and they are still rolling. They've won 4 straight after sweeping the Royals earlier this past week, and I definitely think that they're a team that's worth backing, as I think the markets are a little bit low on the Blue Jays based on the way that they've currently been playing. Thoughts on games with the new pitchers because of the trade deadline, Stroman and Bauer. In terms of that type of question, there's a couple of ways to go about it. You could look at their career ERA at specific ballparks and then try to dictate how that's going to do. Overall, I know that was the case yesterday with Jason Vargas going to the Phillies, and I said I like the under anyway. In terms of adjusting to new ballparks, do I think that it matters? Slightly, Michael, but at the same point, I definitely think that if the pitchers that you are backing have looked solid in the past, I think their momentum and I think that their quality of performance will continue regardless of whether or not they're going to play. Basically, the way that you should view it is even though these pitchers are going to be performing in new ballparks, you can even look at it as a road game for them in a way. You could say, well, Bauer, for example, is now going to Cincinnati, hypothetically. You can look at his career ERA in Cincinnati, and you could also in Cincinnati's ballpark, and you could also look at his road record this season and try to equate the two as a road game. Because in a way, if he has been so used to pitching for Cleveland, which he has been, and now he's going to a new environment, you can technically pencil that as a road game because of the fact that he's going to be pitching in a relatively unfamiliar environment. So you could look at his career ERA in a specific ballpark and look at how he does on the road and then try to get a gauge of what you think he's going to do. Do I think it really matters? No. I simply think that if Stroman or Bauer or both have been pitching well lately and now they go to a new team, I don't automatically think they're going to be terrible because they're in a new ballpark. I think that at the same point, it might take a little while for the catcher and them to get on the same page, but I don't think it's really much. And I think that if you are worried about that, I think it's a little bit of an overreaction. I think you should be more concerned about whether or not the pitchers themselves are in current form as opposed to which ballpark they're currently pitching in. And Michael, hopefully that made sense to you. Now, in terms of the UFC card, I will be giving out a couple of leans on some fights that I've been interested in. The first lean I'm going to be giving out is going to be in the Stosic versus the Neschukwo fight, and I like Neschukwo getting the job done at roughly plus 105 here. Stosic came into the UFC as a decent prospect. Both fighters did lose their UFC debut. At the same point, Neschukwo has a 5-inch reach. Has a 5-inch advantage. He's 6'5", and he's got a 4-inch reach advantage. And Stosic's a very good wrestler, but at the same point, Neschukwo has been pretty solid so far in his career at stuffing takedown attempts. I will lean to him getting the job done as an underdog here. That should be taking place roughly 305. I definitely think that if Stosic's not able to take him down, I think that Neschukwo will use his 4-inch reach advantage, and I think he will end up winning by knockout. So I will lean to the underdog in that one. In terms of other UFC fights, this might not make much sense, but overall, I actually am going to be leaning to Mickey Gall a little bit at plus 104. I know that Towery has been decent so far in his MMA career, and I know that he's pretty solid with his takedown defense. However, Mickey Gall, I know he's a submission specialist only and pretty much possesses no talent in the stand-up whatsoever. But at the same point, this fight is in New Jersey, and Mickey Gall lives in New Jersey, and he's from New Jersey. So maybe it's a little bit of a homer pick. But at the same point, I think he will show something in probably a make-or-break fight. After Mickey Gall beats Sage Northcutt, he has looked pretty much abysmal. And after he got knocked out by Diego Sanchez in his last fight, you can theorize that if Gall loses this fight in either embarrassing fashion or in unanimous decision, he could potentially be thrown off the UFC. So for me, I'll lean to Gall here. It could be his last hurrah in the UFC if he loses, and it will be in front of his hometown fans. I will lean to Mickey Gall at plus 105 on the money line, which is available at 5 times. And other than that, really don't like today. I really don't like the card in the UFC. Don't really have much thoughts. I know that those two fights, I think that there is a potential edge. Gall's not really an edge. Gall's just my personal opinion on him performing well in front of his hometown fans. I definitely think Nechescu is my favorite play of the card, and I will be betting that personally, as I think that Stosic is a little bit overvalued here. And other than that, those are my two UFC leans. Now, quick question for Michael. My thoughts on the Reds versus the Braves today. And I will pull that matchup up right now. Just bear with me for a second as I end up getting the matchup here. Yeah, so you will be having Trevor Bauer versus Dallas Keuchel in his Reds debut in this one. And Atlanta's currently a minus 135 favorite. For me, I know that Bauer had a massive mental explosion in his last game against the Indians where he ended up launching that ball over the center field wall. Do I really care about that? No, especially considering the fact that Bauer did not pitch that badly. I know his numbers in the last game weren't good, but if you saw the fifth inning in which everything fell apart, he gave up a lot of blue pits, I know the outfielder lost a fly ball in the sun. He didn't pitch terribly. A lot of them were weak hits, but that's just the nature of baseball itself. In terms of who I will lean into in that game, I will lean to the Braves, as I simply think that Keuchel is 3-4 with a 3.86 ERA with the Braves this season. But I just think that the Braves are a better team. They're 31-24 at home. The Reds are 22-31 on the road. Even if Bauer pitches well, do you really trust the Reds bullpen? Probably not. And with good weather, especially it's supposed to be around 82 degrees, I think that the Braves offense should perform well. And I think that Bauer will struggle, not because of the fact it's his first start with the Reds, but simply just because I think he's going up against one of the best lineups in baseball. And I think that they will perform well as a result. So I will lean to the Braves on that one. But in terms of the play of the day, it will be Taylor Fritz, -2 games, which is available at minus 114 at BetOnline. And that will be the play of the day. Now, before we conclude today's video, quick reminder of our sponsor, PointsBet, online sportsbook in New Jersey. A couple of great deals for you. Up to 2 risk-free bets up to $1,000. So if you end up betting on tennis, even the basketball tournament or anything, baseball, anything, and you end up losing, you get your money back, which is a great deal. And that's something that you should try to capitalize before that deal is off the table. However, that's going to do it for this installment of Scott Selections here for Saturday, August 3rd. And good luck to all of you and your respective bets today. Bye, everyone.